Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. No one dies harder than John McClane, saving all the passengers on the train. When Simon wasn't clear with his intentions, it was just a distraction. And there was no way McClane could know that Hans Gruber was Simon's bro. And that's what made it Die Hard with a vengeance, with Samuel Jackson. And the good cop wouldn't miss this, even though it wasn't Christmas. He didn't get any help from Alan, but only in part 3. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die as hard as we can. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down to Nakatomi Tower to meet with Holly. He came to get her back and to be her man, but Hans and his buddies fucked up the plan, and that's about when everything went sour at the Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane kicked ass. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die as hard as we can. No one dies harder than John McClane, even when his wife's stuck on a plane, about to crash into the Potomac River on the eve of Christmas. And airport security kicked him out, but John McClane is just too damn proud, and nothing could have made him not deliver, cause that's his business. And with a lot of fights and gunplay, he blew that plane up on the runway. And with a little help from Alan, Holly's plane could land. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die as hard as we can. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
All right, welcome to Bad Hair Night here on Lovecraft Country Live. Ash and I were both like, I think it's the first time either of us has like actually looked at themselves today and went like, "Oh,
Yeah,
So anyway.
oh,
whoa." But hey, listen, we're always here for you as you're always here for us. So welcome to Lovecraft Live, the official or unofficial instant Twitch companion piece to Shat on TV Lovecraft Country. I guess it's official because we can make it official. It's ours. We're gonna do what we want.
I feel like we're pretty official.
Yeah. I'm one of your hosts, Gene Lyons. This is what I look like. And alongside me is my co-host, Ash Schlafly. And that's what she looks like. And Ash and I both had a very, very hectic weekend. So Ash is... Are you on your phone right now?
I'm on the computer,
Oh, okay.
but the mic is in my daughter's closet. My mom is here, and like it's just been but my poor mom was, of course, the 1 week my mom is here is tentacle sex night.
Yes.
On Lovecraft Country. So
It's Judy Garland night.
Judy Garland
that.
tentacle porn night on Lovecraft Country. So she's like, I'm gonna go take a shower while you do your podcast and go to bed. So
Fuck, I needed a shower after watching that episode. This is a quick interactive look at how we, the hosts, and you, the audience, felt about Lovecraft Country episode we just watched, which was episode 6, Meet Me in Daegu. and what we plan to cover in Wednesday's deep dive. We're going to preview here. So Ash and I are jumping in. We haven't really had any time to research the episode. So if there are some lapses in our knowledge about the episode and what we saw in the episode, totally genuine. With us here, we have Coach Marcus as usual, Bandicoot as well. We got some new faces too. Dax Jacobson. 2 of 4 is here, who says she loves all the Judy Garland stuff in this episode. There was a lot of it. And I was saying that voiceover at the end, I'm like, that's how I feel about podcasting, Judy. Fucking preach.
Me too. I was sitting there like, yes, YouTube.
I spend my life entertaining you and your children. And this is how you repay me. You kill me, and in turn, I'll kill you. You're dead to me. Anyway, love you, Judy. Coach Marcus says, great story, great acting, cool monster, and tentacle hentai. That was actually, I wrote tentacle porn, and then thankfully I was corrected by the episode, and they're like, no, it's foxtails, not tentacles. So, kind of look like tentacles, though. Holosaurus Rex said, it took a second at the end to realize that it wasn't Liza talking. Misha Shisha says, I'm learning to read, the monster effects on the show are pretty cool. And Aaron Sun says, if anyone knows this is a real Korean monster, we'll get into that. Sort of. Yeah. So Kamiho is an actual thing, a legendary creature, but it's not quite what's depicted here.
No, but it is a beautiful woman that can punish men, that can change shape. I mean, so I love that this was like very much though like a weird mix of like this and like Lovecraft and like Lovecraft's love of tentacles. Yes. I thought it was a cool amalgam. I don't know about you, but I really liked this episode. This was one of the first episodes of, well, other than the third episode, because I loved the third episode, the haunted house episode, loved it. But this one, like, Jamie Chung, man, I am here for her. And I was completely enthralled, completely blended. It felt a lot like Kiksuya in Westworld, where you have like this one-off episode with this character that you probably, if you see again, you're going to get tiny tidbits. You're never going to see them in this deep, invested way again. And this felt like Lovecraft's Kiksuya. And as if anybody's listened to our Westworld podcast, Kiksuya is I think that is the height of Westworld for me on all 3 seasons. And this very much, I absolutely loved it. I loved her performance. I loved Atticus in this episode. He was so much softer than he's been in the rest of the season. And
other than blowing people's brains out.
Other than that, yes. But I thought it was complicated and interesting and deep and dark and kind of really scary. And I from the second she shot those tentacles out of her nose and stuck him in his body, and blew the dude up, I was here for it.
I don't know if Ash and I are just like soul companions or if we have some sort of telepathic link, because as I was watching this episode, I'm like, they did such a great job of telling an entire story in one episode. It was complex. It was well-rounded. It had a logical start, a finish, and then a little hint of things to come. And Jia is such a fascinating character. She has, in one episode, they gave her as much complexity as any of the other characters that had 5 episodes to develop. I feel like I really, really know her. And again, also the way they took a very well-rounded look at Atticus, I feel like I know him better as a result of watching this episode. We had comments in saying that we look great for coming from Flavor Dave. And
that doesn't count as much, Flavor Dave. I don't know if I'll take Flavor Dave. He just loves us too much.
Yeah,
he's biased.
Karen. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah says, I wish they would go into this much detail on other topics too. But yeah, Flavor Dave said we look great. 2 of 4 said we both look cute. And everyone's glad to see you. People missed you on Friday night, so they're glad to see you.
I missed you guys too.
Cam pointed out that they had to scrub that room down like 99 times. I was like, yeah, they really like Uma needs to give William a call and talk about plastic sheeting, because
Dexter
like,
it.
You have a kill room, man. Like
Dexter
all the
it.
nooks and crannies in that room.
But I mean, like, I don't know. And again, this is probably window into Ashley's soul here, right? Is that like, she goes in She lights the candles all at once. There's that like silk bed pillow
Yeah.
thing with no sheets. Like I was like, yes, Jamie Chung, yes. And then she blows him up, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like I'm kind of down with this. Like I'm kind of down with this, tentacle blowing up the man porn thing. Like, I mean, it was a weird episode because it wound up being like sexy, but like gross,
Yeah.
but also really deep. And
Yeah.
and I mean, come on, the reading of Count of Monte Cristo and like their argument about it, like what a like a flirtatious, like super hot conversation that they had.
I mean, it's got to be to get over the fact that somebody executed your best friend. It's like, you got to really come on with the charm. Set up, yeah. I mean, listen, like, you got to have flowers or a flower. You got to set up a special movie room. Which, by the way, you said, the fear that you felt in this episode. The first time I was genuinely afraid for any character in this entire series was when she walked
Same.
into that tent. I was like, my heart was like pounding. I was like, oh no, 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 no. I thought it was
I
gonna
thought they
go.
were gonna rape her.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And I thought that it was gonna be the sort of thing where the show was like they were gonna rape her, but then she massacred everybody, which is like I mean, it doesn't make the rape okay, right? It still is a terrifying experience because she's still going through, with that part. Whereas when she's consumed these souls, she's doing it on her own terms. She is the predator in that sense. By the way, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say, and maybe the audience has too. Have you ever seen the horror movie Teeth
Yes.
about the
Vagina
teeth
dentata?
yes.
Yeah. That's what it's
like
called.
there was a lot of vibes of that in this episode, right? Like, and I don't know, like you're talking about being afraid for characters. I mean, the scene where, because okay, so we got a lot of, I don't want to say hate, we got a lot of opinions about our opinion, my specific opinion about shoe sodomy last week
Mhm.
on YouTube about, justifying it, saying it wasn't homophobic, blah, 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 blah. But it was, so we can leave that behind. I think the way they dealt with rape this episode, with her speech to her mother about how her daughter used to sing the nursery rhymes to herself when her husband raped her and that he picked her out, and like that whole spiel was the most frightening thing that I've seen on this show. And I was scared for the mother, I was scared for the daughter, I was scared for the monster, I was scared for myself. I mean, all of it was so frightening in its retribution and darkness and violence. And that's what I've wanted from this show the entire series, is to feel off, like just off, to feel creepy, to feel spooky, to feel whatever, to feel something. And I felt so much in that scene. And if Jamie Chung doesn't get nominated for like an Emmy or something for like this special, whatever that Emmy category is,
Yeah.
Special creepy ass sex and speech category, I mean, it's sad because she was absolutely amazing. And yeah, like 204 saying, she was talking in the third person, like that made it so much creepier that she's talking in the third person.
A lot of love for Jamie Chung's performance. Coach Marcus says it was fire. Cam says she was so good. Absolutely brilliant performance. So a lot of agreement with you there, Ash. And Coach Marcus also said, they didn't have to show much to let the bad stuff Atticus did. I was actually, I think that they set up the episode where you knew that at some point the tentacles, the foxtails were going to come out and we're going to see into Atticus. And that's something I want to focus on actually for the deep dive on Wednesday is yes, we learned a lot about Gia as a character, but also like what we learned about Atticus as a character, his past, his present, and his future, and really what the episode revealed to him, not just on a timeline perspective, but also from a emotional perspective. Right? There was a dichotomy between these two characters. There's one being who has seen the souls and lives of 99 men and consume those souls, and you have Atticus, who is this tempestuous being, this violent person, and yet at the same time he's so innocent. Right? They have two complete like the way he is about love and affection is so naive and so childlike, and he's so desperate for approval. It's that affection that he's never gotten before, whereas she has gotten affection, but in a totally different way. They just did a wonderful interplay between those two characters, and I'd love to dive deeper into that.
Absolutely. First of all, welcome to Do Right Woman. We're glad that you're here. We appreciate you joining us for the first time. And I'm glad you're going to dig into that. And I hope that I can piggyback off of some of that because I think that there's a lot there. As far as what I want to dive into, there's two specific topics. One, I want to dive into a little bit of the Kumeho and talk about Kumeho and talk about the Kumeho and like what the actual legend of the Kumeho is and how that connects to Lovecraft himself, because I think there's some really cool stuff there that I think the audience is gonna, expect us to talk about because that was the big thing in this episode. And then I am like the world's biggest musical fan, as you know. And so I really want to dive into Judy and I want to dive into the Judy Garland references, the voiceover, the specific two movies that they showed in this episode and how that connects, because I think it's really, really important and was also incredibly charming when she got up and she started dancing at the
Yeah.
start to meet me in St. Louis. I mean, it reminded me, I haven't been moved this much by a Judy Garland reference since Wally and the Hello Dolly piece at the beginning. But yeah, I mean, like Cam's saying, I'm in for the Judy dive. I really think that it had to have been incredibly intentional to choose her. And then, like you said, to have that voiceover at the end, which is a really famous
Yeah.
spiel that she gave, the breakdown that she was having, because of all the pressures. I think that I'm pretty excited to see how that's all connecting to what we've got and moving forward. And then the final piece that I hope, Gene, that you and I will really piggyback on is looking into what it is about Atticus that made it different, right?
Mm.
Like why, like did she sense the magic in him and is that why she was able to resist killing him? Is that why the monster in her recognizing this monstrous magic that's in him? Like I think there's something there too that we need to talk about why she falls for him,
Right.
the evil that he innately has within him with these horror. I mean, you saw the flashbacks with
Yeah.
him like
Torturing
torturing the
people. Yeah.
women,
Mhm.
like I think we need to talk about that because the magic we've seen, the brotherhood of the Adam, the language of Adam, the brotherhood of the ancient dawn, like all of that, they're not good. It's not good magic. It's not white magic. And I know
Right.
that's not the terminology they use on the show, but it's not. It's not white magic. It's dark magic. And I think that there's something there that we should talk about for sure.
And if you're just joining us on Twitch and you actually have never listened to the deep dive, it's the podcast that we do that we do this in support of. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast and make sure we don't miss an episode, including all the stuff that we're going to talk about here. So this is just our opinions. This is really quick takes on it and audience interaction, but we will have a deep dive. And that comes out on Wednesdays. You can get it anywhere you get your podcast, or you can watch it on YouTube if you want to, but you will get commercials. Or go to shatontv.com/subscribe. And then also on Twitch here, we do Getting By with the King Bee on Wednesdays. So our buddy the King Bee will be playing video games here on Wednesday nights. And then also we have a Shappy Hour on Friday night where you can hang out with us as well. It's right back here again. We're having cocktails, and we'll discuss more Lovecraft Country. So lots of ways to kind of interact with us. Also, if you want to support the stream or the podcast, you can do that by subscribing through Twitch Prime, which kicks us a couple bucks every month. And that's actually included in your Amazon Prime subscription. So if you already have Amazon Prime membership, you could just use that for Twitch Prime, and we get support, financial support, and it doesn't cost you anything. So it's pretty awesome. Speaking of financial support, Aaron's son gave us a cheer of 100 bits for our hair. So I appreciate that. Feeling a lot
I
better
feel like we
about
should
that.
get two. I think I should get 100 bits for each
For
pigtail.
each pigtail. I didn't even notice you had pigtails. I thought you just had it slicked back
I
behind
have
your
on my I have
ears.
on my tooling gear. I'm
Aw.
supporting Go Roll Wave. We did very well yesterday, so
Flavor Dave says that we both have scruff after this weekend, guys. It's like for me, it's like a 12-hour thing. Misha Shisha in the comments a while back actually mentioned an interesting take on it, which is maybe we're being exposed to different kinds of magic in these episodes because it could be, as you kind of mentioned, Ash, the kinds of magic that we're seeing, a way to combat the Sons of Adam, right? Like maybe it would be these magics from around the world that are in kind of an international magic squad that competes with the Sons of Adam. It'd be interesting to see. We didn't really mention that, and we hate to always go like, "Thank you for the cheers, Aaron, Son, and Zuger." we didn't really talk about the fact that you got 200-bit cheer, 4-year pigtails from Zuger. So there you go. But we didn't really touch on the fact that, again, we don't really like to talk about like what was in the book, but this was the writing staff of Lovecraft Country going out completely on their own, right? So this
And it was
is
amazing.
completely off book, and like I thought it really worked.
Oh, it completely worked. And I feel like I'd be remiss because every week I talk about like the clear movie pop culture references they're making that they're drawing from. I think this week clearly was Wally because you've got the, the inhuman
Rehoboam.
object that wants to be that wants to be can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear your phone. Oh, we lost you. So Ash was might have lost her connection because her phone rang. She was actually expecting a call, so kind of important. But I'm gonna dive into Sarah's comment. When our magics combine, we can save the world. Captain Planet or Lovecraft Country.
Hi, y'all.
Thank you for the cheer, Sarah. What was interesting about the dating scene that maybe you guys can help me out with that, because I'm watching it. And the guy who's hosting it, like the MC guy, he goes, look for your matches. But I noticed that the women didn't have cards. So what were the matches? Did the women have secret cards hidden somewhere? So if you guys are familiar with meeting or that 50s speed dating, please fill me in on that, because I rewound that scene and watched it again, one of the few times that I've ever actually stopped the show and gone back while watching it, and I was like, I don't think the women had cards. That was really weird. Thanks for the cheer, Bridges. Misha Shisha says, yeah, I think Tick is right about magic being neither good or bad. It's what you do with it. So referencing back to the last episode, we've seen now 3 uses for magic. 1 bad in the Adamites, 1 good in protecting Letty's house, and 1 that's seemingly from a good place but poorly executed in this episode. That's a very interesting take, Misha Shisha, because you're absolutely right. In this episode, the Kamiho was summoned to get rid of the husband, a bad guy, but instead, what is the price you have to pay to keep feeding that magic? It's very, very interesting. And Sarah says, I think it's because women cannot choose. It's only men that can decide if they want to date someone. No, I get that. The point was the guy said your matches. So what was matching? If you only had 1 set of sheets, what is a match? I don't know. I guess the women are just implied yeses to everybody. Not sure. So, and again, yeah, guys, no, I get it. I'm aware of history and the fact that women didn't have a choice in things. Please listen to the words coming out of my mouth. I'm saying that the MC said matches. I'm trying to figure out what was being matched. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, well, yeah, the MC was a dick. I mean, all the guys there were dicks. And, you had the one guy that like seemed like it was all going to work out, but I think that was kind of speaking to, there was the toying with the Kamiho, which was interesting too, because Gia as a Kamiho, they're like classically supposed to be these like playful, mischievous creatures, and yet she's the one being fucked with all the time, right? Like she's the one with her mother or her Uma, and also with these men, and also the people that she works with. She's the outsider. She's the one that's always being toyed with. It's a very interesting twist on it. Yeah. Anyway. So that's what we're going to be covering in the deep dive, guys. So please, if you want to share any of your thoughts or like propose, I've written down some of the topics that we did talk about, but if there's anything else or that came up in chat, if there's anything else you guys want to discuss, you can write in at hosts@shatontv.com, or you can call us at 914-719-SHAT and leave a voicemail. Flavor Dave is very good at doing that. And let us know your thoughts on this episode. I think out of all the episodes that we had so far, this is the one I'm the most lost on. I was impressed by it for sure, like in the sense that I got the point of it. I really, really appreciated the characters, but my knowledge of the Korean War or the Korean conflict and my knowledge of Korean folklore and Korean culture is probably significantly lower than a lot of people in the audience. So helping us out by writing in, if you do have knowledge of that, would be super, super helpful. And I understand that this is a bit of a mishmash, right? Like there's some, I guess, cultural fusion in there as well, that it's not like purely exactly the folklore. I've kind of gleaned that already, but it would be helpful to kind of get a better take on that. So Aaron Sun is saying, can we talk a little bit about the Korean War history and the American reception in Korea? That is a very good point. I think that would be, a nice little chunk to do. So I'll discuss that with Ash. And also one of the things that caught my attention too is when Atticus was talking about points, right? That there was a point system and kind of explaining like how that worked for American soldiers in the Korean conflict is it's a really, really interesting story, and one that that we like to get into as well. Yeah. So the Korean War is literally called the Forgotten War, and there's a very good reason for that. In fact, every time I've gone to DC, I make a point to go to the Korean War Memorial because I think it's the most striking and haunting memorial. And every time I go, if you listen to the people when they're, and I'm not fucking dogging on people, like whatever, like you may not know your war history or whatever, but they always think it's a Vietnam memorial. But it is, if you haven't seen it, especially at nighttime, when it's lit very dramatically, especially if there's like a bit of a mist, it is really a sight to behold. So do check it out. And the Korean War itself, like if you never saw MASH, the movie, not the TV show, or did any studies on the Korean War, it is a fascinating involvement that the U.S. Was in the 50s that kind of slid right in there after World War II, and therefore does not have like I shouldn't say therefore, and unfortunately does not have the same recognition as far as sacrifice goes. But many lives were lost, and there were tremendous acts of heroism during the Vietnam War. During the Korean War as well as the Vietnam War. Yeah, and guys, if you've seen the show MASH, watch the movie MASH because they are very, very different. Like characters are the same, but the movie MASH is dark. And if you've never heard the lyrics to the MASH theme song, it's a real downer. Anyway, but that's it for tonight. We're gonna cut out here, but thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, if you want to write in, host@shatontv.com or call in 914-719-SHAT. Sorry, I'm forgetting my own phone number. Do that as well. We'd love to hear from you and catch up. Yeah, there you go, Dax. Suicide is painless. It brings a lot of changes. Yeah. And Misha Shisha, I think we'll discuss that as well, about what it means to be different in this episode. So for 5 episodes now, we've been learning about othering, and this is just another, I think, take on othering, which if there was like one keyword, one buzzword for all of Lovecraft Country, it would be what it is to be other, I think. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be the Instacat. This is actually supposed to be 15 minutes, Dave. We just run long every time because right after this, we have to do is actually do our research because we have jobs. So on Monday, we do our job. And then right after work, we record the deep dive and then edit it on Monday to release on Wednesday. So, and then on and then Tuesday, we release the Shat the Movies. So, by the way, Shat the Movies this week should be a great one. It's Escape to Victory, which is Sylvester Stallone's finest hour. Anyway, thanks guys for joining us. Yeah, this is not a Shappy Hour. It's Sunday night, Dave. Go to bed. We will see you guys on Wednesday for the deep dive. And again, if you've missed any of these episodes too, you can go to you can check all these back episodes on YouTube. They're all there. And I'm gonna start actually clipping also the Lovecraft Country portion of Shappy Hour for people who aren't able to stay up late on Friday nights to watch Shappy Hour. We'll start clipping those as well so that you can just go straight to the YouTube channel and just get, like, you'll get the full Shappy Hour, the 3 or 4 hour Shappy Hour, and then also just a Lovecraft Country, like, separate recording. Or not separate recording, but clipped out so that you can, watch that other part of it too. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us, spending your Sunday night with us. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you join us for the deep dive, and we will see you later.
Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down to Nakatomi Tower to meet with Holly. He came to get her back and to be her man, but Hans and his buddies fucked up the plan, and that's about when everything went sour. at the Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane kicked ass. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die as hard as we can. No one dies harder than John McClane, even when his wife's stuck on a plane, about to crash into the Potomac River on the eve of Christmas. And airport security kicked him out, but John McClane is just too damn proud, and nothing could have made him not deliver, 'cause that's his business. And with a lot of fights and gunplay, he blew that plane up on the runway. And with a little help from Alan, Holly's plane could land. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die as hard as we can. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. No one dies harder than John McClane, saving all the passengers on the train. When Simon wasn't clear with his intentions, it was just a distraction. And there was no way McClane could know that Hans Gruber was Simon's bro. And that's what made it Die Hard with a vengeance, with Samuel Jackson. And the good cop wouldn't miss this, even though it wasn't Christmas. He didn't get any help from Alan, but only in part 3. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die hard. We're gonna die, 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 die as hard as we can. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Yippee-ki-yay.